I met Carrie on a Tuesday afternoon at a coffee shop downtown. She had this way of laughing that made everyone around her smile. 3 years into our marriage, I still felt lucky every single day. We had built something real, something solid, but I should have noticed the way my brother looked at her at our wedding. I should have seen the obsession growing behind his eyes during every family dinner. By the time I realized what was happening, he had already been watching us for months. And when he finally showed up at 3 a.m., standing in our living room, uninvited, I understood that the person I trusted least in this world shared my blood. Before I tell you what happened that night, I want to know where you are watching this from. Drop your city or country in the comments below. And if you are ready to hear how far someone will go when obsession takes over, hit that like button and subscribe. Because what my own family did to protect him will make you question who you can really trust. Now, let me take you back to where it all started. Carrie and I got married on a spring morning in Boulder, Colorado, with mountains watching over us like silent witnesses. She worked as a physical therapist at the local hospital, spending her days helping people rebuild their strength after injuries. I did graphic design for a small agency near Pearl Street, the kind of work that let me come home at 5:30 and actually be present. Our evenings fell into a rhythm I loved. We would cook together, her chopping vegetables while I handled the stove trading stories about difficult clients and stubborn patients. Weekends meant hiking trails we had explored a dozen times but never got tired of. Carrie had this thing where she would stop at every overlook, no matter how many times we had seen it, and say, "It looked different in this light." She was right every time. Life felt complete in a way I had never known before her. My younger brother Garrett was 29, 3 years behind me. Growing up, he was always the one who struggled. Jobs never lasted more than a few months. Relationships ended badly, usually with him blaming the other person. Mom called him sensitive, said he just needed more support than most people. Dad had given up trying to fix him years ago. Garrett drifted through life expecting things to fall into his lap, getting angry when they did not. At our wedding, I caught him staring at Carrie during the ceremony. Not the normal way you look at a bride. It was intense focus, like he was memorizing her. I pushed the thought away. He was my brother. I told myself he was just emotional about the occasion. The first month after we got back from our honeymoon, Garrett started showing up more often. He lived 2 hours away in a smaller town, where rent was cheaper, working part-time at a hardware store. Suddenly, he was in Boulder every weekend. He would text on Friday afternoon saying he was in the area, could he stop by? Carrie would look at me with raised eyebrows, but never said no. She was too kind for that. He would sit at our kitchen table asking Carrie about her day while barely acknowledging me. How was work? Did she like her coworkers? What route did she take driving home? I thought he was just lonely, maybe trying to feel connected to family. Carrie started making excuses about weekend plans, but Garrett always found a reason to drop by anyway. Then he started texting her directly. The first one came on a Wednesday morning. Carrie showed me her phone at breakfast, confused. "Hey Carrie, do you know any good breakfast spots around Boulder, thinking of trying something new?" It seemed innocent. She replied with a couple of names, but then more messages came. Questions about where she bought groceries, what gym she used, if she had recommendations for hiking trails. Carrie answered the first few because she did not want to be rude, but her responses got shorter. She told me she felt weird about it. I called Garrett that night and tried to be casual. "Hey man, maybe text me instead of Carrie if you need recommendations around town." He got defensive immediately. "Why is there a problem? Cannot I talk to my sister-in-law?" The way he said it made my skin crawl, but I did not push. I should have. In March, Carrie came home from the hospital looking shaken. She stood in the doorway taking off her shoes, not making eye contact. "Your brother showed up at work today." My stomach dropped. "What do you mean showed up?" She explained he had walked into the rehabilitation center during her lunch break, claiming he was in the area for a job interview. He asked if she wanted to grab food. She said no, that she had brought lunch. He stayed for 20 minutes anyway, watching her eat a sandwich in the break room, asking questions about her patients that she could not answer because of privacy rules. When I called Garrett, he acted like I was overreacting. "I was literally there for an interview. The place is 2 blocks from her hospital. What is the big deal?" I told him to give us space. He said I was being paranoid and hung up. 2 weeks later, Carrie called me from the hospital parking lot. Her voice was tight with controlled panic. "I have a flat tire. I am looking at it right now, and it looks like someone let the air out. There is no puncture." Before I could respond, she added, "And Garrett just called me. He asked if I needed help with my car. How did he know, babe? I have not talked to him in weeks." I drove to the hospital going 20 over the speed limit. When I got there, Carrie was sitting in her car with the doors locked. I checked the tire. She was right. The valve stem was loosened, not damaged. Someone had deliberately let the air out. I changed it while Carrie sat silent in the passenger seat. That night, we both knew something was very wrong, but neither of us wanted to say what we were thinking. I installed a doorbell camera the next day, one of those smart ones that sends alerts to your phone whenever it detects motion. Carrie had stopped wanting to be home alone. She would text me throughout the day, asking what time I would be back. We stopped posting anything on social media. No check-ins, no photos. We were starting to live like people in hiding, and we had not even confirmed what we were hiding from. The camera footage from the first week showed normal stuff. Delivery drivers, neighbors walking dogs. Then on a Thursday night at 11:15 p.m., a dark blue Honda Civic rolled past our house slowly. Too slowly. The car stopped at the end of our street with the engine running, but no headlights on. It sat there for 7 minutes before driving away. My chest tightened watching the footage. Garrett drove a dark blue Honda Civic. The car appeared 3 more times that week. Always late at night, always lingering. I tried to zoom in on the license plate, but the resolution was not good enough. Carrie stopped sleeping through the night. She would wake up at 2 a.m. and check the camera feed on her phone. I started working from home more, telling my boss I needed flexibility for personal reasons. We changed our routines. Carrie drove different routes to work. We bought groceries at random times instead of our usual Sunday afternoon trip. It felt insane restructuring our entire lives around someone we were not even certain was stalking us. But deep down, we both knew. I called Garrett on a Saturday morning. No more pretending. "Have you been driving by our house?" Silence on the other end lasted so long I thought he had hung up. Then his voice came back cold. "Why would I do that? You sound paranoid, man. Maybe you should talk to someone." The deflection made me angrier than a confession would have. "Stay away from us, Garrett. I mean it. If I see you near our house or Carrie's work again, I am calling the police." He laughed. Actually laughed. "Good luck with that. I have not done anything wrong." Then he hung up. Carrie was standing in the doorway watching me. "We need to move," she said quietly. I nodded. We started looking at apartments that afternoon. 2 weeks of silence followed. The car stopped appearing on our camera. No texts from Garrett, no unexpected visits. Carrie started to relax slightly. We found an apartment 40 miles away, closer to Denver, in a neighborhood we did not know. The rent was higher, but it felt worth it for the distance. We told only 2 friends where we were moving, people we trusted completely. We did not tell my parents. That was the hard part. Mom called twice asking why we were being so secretive. I gave vague answers about needing a change, wanting to be closer to Carrie's new job. She accepted it, but I could hear the hurt in her voice. Still, we could not risk it, not with Garrett. Before moving day, I drove to my parents' house to pick up some boxes I had stored in their garage. Mom was on the phone when I walked in through the side door. I heard her voice from the kitchen, low and careful. Yes, they are moving to an apartment near downtown. I saw the lease agreement in his bag when he was here last week. Cherry Creek area, I think. My blood went ice cold. I walked into the kitchen. She saw me and her face went white. I have to go, she said quickly and hung up. We stared at each other. Were you just telling Garrett where we are moving? Her mouth opened and closed. Then she straightened up defensive. He has a right to know where his family is. I could not believe what I was hearing. Mom, he has been stalking Carrie. He has been driving by our house at night. He is scaring her, and you are helping him. She crossed her arms. You are being dramatic. Garrett cares about both of you. He just wants to feel included. You have always shut him out. The conversation spiraled. I told her about the hospital visits, the texts, the late-night drive-bys. She made excuses for everything. He was going through a hard time. He was lonely. I was his only brother, and I was abandoning him. When I said we were getting a restraining order if this continued, she told me I was tearing the family apart. I left without the boxes. We moved fast after that. Hired movers I found through an app, people who did not know us. Changed our mail, forwarding to a P.O. box instead of the new address. Carrie put in a transfer request at work and got approved to start at a rehabilitation facility on the other side of Denver. We were running, and I hated that we had to. But every time Carrie woke up, gasping from a nightmare about someone breaking in, I knew we were making the right choice. The new apartment was on the 3rd floor of a secured building. You needed a key fob to get into the lobby and another to access the elevator. We installed cameras at our door. I bought better locks. We were building a fortress because my own brother had turned into the threat we needed protection from. The first 2 weeks in the new place felt like exhaling after holding your breath underwater. No strange cars, no unexpected visitors. Carrie started smiling again, real smiles that reached her eyes. We explored the neighborhood, found a coffee shop we liked, went to a farmer's market on Saturday morning. She said it felt like starting over, like maybe we had actually escaped. I wanted to believe her. But I kept my phone volume on high at night. I checked the camera feeds compulsively. Some part of me knew we were just in the eye of the storm. On a Wednesday evening, Carrie came home from the grocery store looking pale. I was making dinner when she walked in and just stood there holding bags, staring at nothing. What happened? She set the bags down slowly. I felt like someone was watching me in the store. I kept turning around, but no one was there. I am probably just being paranoid. I pulled her into a hug. We are safe here. He does not know where we live. But even as I said it, I thought about my mother on the phone, and I wondered if safe was just something I was telling myself. The notification came at 3:02 a.m. on a Monday. My phone buzzed on the nightstand, the screen lighting up the dark bedroom. Motion detected at back door. I grabbed it, heart already racing before I was fully awake. The live camera feed loaded. Someone was at our back door, which should have been impossible. Our apartment was on the 3rd floor. There was no back door. Then I realized the app had not updated after we moved. This was the camera from our old house. Someone was at our old house trying to get in, but we had been gone for 3 weeks. Why would anyone still be there? Then my brain caught up. The footage was not from our old house. I had installed a camera at the new apartment's back entrance, the one that led to the fire escape. Someone was trying our door right now. I shook Carrie awake. Someone is trying to get in. She sat up fast, grabbing her phone. The live feed showed a figure in dark clothes working on the door handle. We could not see a face. "Call 911, I whispered. I got out of bed as quietly as possible and grabbed the baseball bat I had put in the closet weeks ago, hoping I would never need it. Carrie was already dialing, her hands shaking so badly she almost dropped the phone. I moved into the hallway, positioning myself between the bedroom and the back of the apartment. The sound of glass breaking cut through the silence. Whoever it was had smashed the small window next to the door. I heard the lock turning from inside. The door creaked open. Carrie ran into the bathroom and locked herself in, her voice barely audible as she gave our address to the dispatcher. My grip on the bat was so tight, my knuckles ached. Footsteps moved through the kitchen. Then the living room light turned on. A voice called out, familiar and completely wrong in this context. "Carrie, I know you are here. It is me." My entire body went cold. It was Garrett's voice. He had broken into our apartment. He had found us. After everything we did to disappear, he was here. I stepped out of the hallway. Garrett was standing in the middle of our living room. He looked terrible. Unshaven hair, messy eyes, bloodshot, and too wide. He was wearing the same jacket I had seen him in a month ago. When he saw me, he did not look surprised. He looked annoyed. "Where is Carrie? I need to talk to her." My voice came out steadier than I felt. "What the hell are you doing in my house? Get out." He shook his head like I was being unreasonable. "You do not understand. I need to explain things to her. You have been keeping her from me." I raised the bat slightly. "The police are on their way. You need to leave right now." He took a step toward the hallway. "Not until I see her. Move." "You have been stalking us." The words came out sharp. "You are sick, Garrett." His face twisted. "I am not sick. I love her. I have loved her since the day you brought her home. You walk around like you are so perfect, like you deserve everything. You do not even see how special she is. You do not appreciate her." I could not process what I was hearing. "She is my wife." He laughed, bitter and harsh. "She married the wrong brother. She just does not know it yet, but she will. Once you are out of the picture, she will see that I am the one who has been watching over her, protecting her, caring about where she goes and what she does. That is love." He moved toward the hallway again. I blocked him. "You are not getting anywhere near her." He tried to push past me. I shoved him back hard. He stumbled and fell backward onto the coffee table, the wood cracking under his weight. He lay there for a second, stunned. I stood over him with the bat raised. "Stay down." My voice was shaking now. "You broke into my home. You threatened my wife. Stay down, or I swear I will make you." From the bathroom, I could hear Carrie's voice, muffled but urgent, still on the phone with the dispatcher. "They are almost here. Please hurry." Garrett looked up at me from the floor and started crying. Not sad crying, angry, frustrated crying like a child who did not get what he wanted. "Why did you have to take her from me? Everything I ever wanted, you got it first. The good job, the nice life, and then Carrie. I saw her first, at that coffee shop. I was going to talk to her, but you walked in and you just took her, like you take everything." I stared at him. "She was never yours. She never will be." He wiped his face with his sleeve. "Mom said if I was patient, Carrie would see. She said it is not too late. She told me people make mistakes, marry the wrong person, and then they fix it. She said Carrie just needs to see that I am the better man." The words hit me like a punch. "Mom has been encouraging this." He nodded, almost proud. "She understands. She knows you have always had everything, and I have had nothing. She told me where you moved. She said you cannot run forever." I felt sick. My own mother had been helping him hunt us. The sound of sirens cut through the moment. Garrett heard them too. He tried to get up. No, 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 I am not done. I need more time. I pushed him back down. You are done. This is over. Police pounded on the front door seconds later. I kept the bat raised until I heard them announce themselves. Then I lowered it and went to let them in. 2 officers came through fast, taking in the scene. Garrett still on the floor, me with the bat, broken glass by the back door. Carrie emerged from the bathroom, pale and shaking. She ran to me and I held her while officers pulled Garrett to his feet and put him in handcuffs. He was crying again, saying, "She belongs with me," over and over. An officer told him to be quiet. As they walked him toward the door, he turned back. "This is not over, Carrie. You will realize. You will come to me." The officer pushed him forward. "Sir, you need to stop talking." We gave our statements, showed them months of texts Garrett had sent, photos from our doorbell cameras at the old house. Carrie told them about the hospital visits, the flat tire, everything. The evidence was overwhelming. They took him away in the back of a police car, and Carrie and I stood in our doorway watching the red lights disappear down the street. It was 4:30 in the morning. Neither of us thought we would sleep again. The restraining order was granted within 48 hours. A judge looked at the evidence and called it clear pattern of escalating obsessive behavior. Garrett was charged with breaking and entering, criminal trespassing, and stalking. His lawyer tried to argue he was having a mental health crisis. The prosecutor said that did not give him the right to terrorize people. In the end, he took a plea deal: 3 years probation, mandatory psychiatric treatment, and a permanent no-contact order for both Carrie and me. He was not allowed within 500 feet of us, our home, or Carrie's workplace. If he violated it, he would go to jail. I called my mother one last time. She answered on the second ring, her voice careful. "Hello." I did not bother with small talk. "You enabled him. You put Carrie in danger. You told him where we lived after we were running from him." She started to defend herself. "I was trying to help both of my sons. Family should not be divided like this." I cut her off. "You chose. You picked Garrett's obsession over Carrie's safety, over my safety. You helped him stalk us. Do you understand that?" Her voice got cold. "You are overreacting. Garrett just needed support. That was it. We are done. Do not call me. Do not try to contact Carrie. You made your choice, and I am making mine." I hung up before she could respond. I blocked her number. Dad called a few days later. I let it go to voicemail. He said he understood why I was angry, but family was family. I deleted the message. Some bridges you have to burn to keep yourself warm. Carrie started seeing a therapist twice a week. The sessions helped her process the fear, the violation of having someone invade her space like that. She had nightmares for months. She would wake up thinking she heard footsteps. I would check every lock, show her the camera feeds, prove we were alone. Slowly, gradually, she started to feel safe again. We moved one more time 6 months later, not because we had to, but because we wanted a fresh start in a place with no memories of fear. The new apartment had better light. Carrie said it felt like breathing after being underwater. We built a new life carefully, made friends with neighbors who knew nothing about what we had been through, found routines that felt normal instead of defensive. Carrie learned to smile without looking over her shoulder. I learned that protecting someone you love means making hard choices even when those choices cost you family. We heard through a mutual friend that Garrett was in treatment, actually showing up to his sessions. I hoped it helped him. I genuinely did. But that did not mean I owed him forgiveness. Some things you do not come back from. Family is not always who you are born to. Sometimes the people who should protect you are the ones you need protection from. I learned that blood does not mean loyalty. It does not mean safety. And choosing your wife, your partner, over toxic family is not selfish. It is survival. Garrett is getting help now. Maybe someday he will understand what he did. Maybe he will become someone who does not need to possess people to feel whole. But that is his journey. Mine is with Carrie building something new and safe. For the first time in a year, when I lock the door at night, I actually feel secure. Because the scariest monsters are not strangers breaking in. They are the ones who already know exactly where you live. So let me ask you this. Have you ever had to cut off family to protect yourself or someone you love? How did you handle it? Drop your story in the comments. If this resonated with you, hit that like button. Subscribe if you want more real stories about the messy, complicated parts of life we do not always talk about. Share this with someone who might need to hear that it is okay to choose safety over family obligation. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope you never have to make the choices I did, but if you do, I hope you know you are not alone. Stay safe out there, and remember that you do not owe anyone access to your peace.